Who Dat to the Who Dat Nation. Welcome to the Who Dat Say podcast. Yes, we have rebranded our New Orleans Saints podcast here on the KB Radio Network. We're going to try this out. Since this is a new era in the New Orleans Saints franchise, I figured, hey, let's try a new era here on the KB Radio Network with a brand new show. It's still the same show as our previous iteration of the Saints podcast, which was the Dome Patrol podcast. But let's do something different. Let's sauce it up. Let's sauce it up and change the name. One of the reasons, I think there's another podcast called the Dome Patrol podcast, which I just recently found out a few months ago. And it's weird because I've been doing this show for a couple of years now, and I did not realize it, did not know, and they were there first. So I'm not going to cry. And so we're going to do a different show, and it was time. It's time to wash away all of the gunk and disappointment and shame that went on during that tenure of the show. And so we're starting anew. Since the Saints decided to start anew, we're going to start anew. The Who Dat Say podcast. And I can only speak for myself here. I don't know how everybody else feel out there in podcast listening land, but I all of a sudden got a sense of excitement going into this season. I was pretty much like, okay, whatever happens, happens. And I'm still in that frame of mind. I'm not expecting the New Orleans Saints to go 17-0 this season and win the Super Bowl. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I don't even see the Saints winning the division this season. But what I am looking forward to is this new regime, this new blood that is here who is taking over as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, and that is Kellen Moore. I want to see if Kellen Moore is as advertised. Is he going to turn this franchise around back to the prominence that we've experienced for the last 20 years, not including the last 3, but bring the New Orleans Saints and the Who Dat Nation back to a sense of relevancy, back to a feeling that every Sunday we were in a game. Every Sunday we were going to go out there and fight, leave it all out there on the field, something that was sorely missed under Dennis Allen's tutelage. And, all due respect to him, it's over and done with. We're not going to rag on Dennis Allen too much going forward because it's over. There's no point ragging on him. He's moved on. He's now the defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears, and I wish him all the success in the world over there, except when we play him, because I think we play Chicago this season, and it's going to be an interesting game. But I do wish him all the success in the world. But it was time to move on, and I think that the New Orleans Saints find themselves in a rare opportunity to start from scratch, to actually build a team with some nice, young, talented players, and, shine some light onto the future, as opposed of plugging in old players with old, hefty contracts and hampering this team. Now the Saints can actually function like an actual NFL franchise. And hopefully these are signs of things to come. And it all kicks off. Wednesday, July the 23rd, when the New Orleans Saints kick off training camp over there on Airline Drive. And this is exciting. We are back in it. We're back in it just that quick. It feels like the season just ended. It feels like Kellen Moore was just hired a week or two ago. And here we are. We're back starting a brand new season for the New Orleans Saints. And like I said, I'm excited to see what's next. Win or lose this season. I'm not looking for blowout victories and winning the division winning 2 or 3 playoff games, winning a Super Bowl. I'm not looking for that this season. But what I am looking for is growth. What I am looking for is a team that looks like they have a plan. And, for years, the Saints were the most difficult team to read. You didn't know what their identity was. Are they a run team? Are they a passing team? Are they a defensive team? What are they? Is this a team that is structured around their starting quarterback, or is it a team that's structured around their best player on the team, their running back, or is this a team that is led by their defensive leader and Demario Davis and stuff? I mean, what is this team? Nobody knew, and the coach, you couldn't get behind the coach either. It's like they were just there, and their record reflect that. Their production on the field reflected that as well. And so training camp starts this week. Rookies are reporting on the 22nd, which is Tuesday, and everybody else reports for Wednesday, the 23rd. So it's time to dive in to this season. Now, there's a lot of question marks going into this season. What are you looking for in camp? What battle is the most intriguing, the one that has your undivided attention? I think everybody will point at the quarterback position. I think everybody's eyes are on the quarterback battle in camp. Who will be the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints in the 2025-26 NFL season? Will it be our second-round pick in Tyler Shuck, or will it be Spencer Rattler, who's been there for 2-3 years? Who has the upper hand, and who will outperform the other to become the starting quarterback? Just a couple of days ago, we got news that Tyler Shuck has signed his contract. He was holding out until he got that contract signed. I figured it will come to this weekend when that deal comes to fruition, because camp was going to be starting, and it did. Tyler Shuck signed a 4-year, $10.7 million contract, fully guaranteed. And that was the big thing. He wanted a fully guaranteed deal, and he got it. Now, this isn't a lot of money. This isn't going to break the bank by no sense of the imagination, but I do have my concerns about this deal. And the reason being, and this is nothing particularly against Tyler Shuck, even though it is, if that makes any sense. Tyler Shuck has had not one, not two, but 3 season-ending injuries in college. 3. He is the sheer definition of injury prone. And this is who we're hitching our wagon to as our future, as our franchise quarterback. I'm on the fence with Tyler Shuck because I don't know anything about him. I didn't really watch him in college. I didn't watch him in Louisville. Didn't see him in Oregon. Didn't see him in, what was the other, Texas Tech. I didn't watch him in college like that, so I can't give a fair assessment that he's this guy. He's the dude. But going by the highlights, and keep in mind, they're highlights. They're called highlights for a reason. Going by the highlights I saw, okay, he looks pretty decent. But is he our best option for starting quarterback? I don't know. And that's the issue I have. I know what I have in Spencer Rattler. I've seen Spencer Rattler play. Now, Spencer Rattler, I know those who really don't care for him to be the starting quarterback would quickly point to the fact that he has played 7 games and he has won 0 of those 7. Fair argument. Fair. that is 100% fair. But you also have to look at the totality of it all. You have to look at the fact that Spencer Rattler never had a full arsenal. He didn't have half of his arsenal When he started, in particularly last season, he didn't have an offensive line. He didn't have his star receivers. He didn't, for a couple of games there, he didn't even have Alvin Kamara to hand the ball over to. And so he was out there with practice squad players and people they pulled off the street to be on the offensive line 2 days prior to kickoff. And you expected him to turn water into wine. I don't understand the hatred towards the man. Now, that's not to say that Spencer Rattler is the guy. I'm not going to go as far to say that, even though I'm a big Spencer Rattler fan. Now, him I did watch in college. Super excited when the Saints got him in the draft because I thought that would be the future. He is that type of quarterback. But I'm not ready to say he's the future because I haven't seen enough of him. I haven't seen him with the starting guys. I've seen him with second string, in most cases, practice squad. Not a fair assessment. I can't give a fair assessment of the man. But I've seen qualities in him that I can see as a leader, as a guy that can get us some wins. Now, this is in all fairness to Tyler Shuck. I didn't see him. I'm only going by what I saw. And what I see is that Spencer Rattler has experience. He's played at the NFL level. He's faced defenses that were ferocious and coming at him from every angle, and he still managed to do the best he could. He couldn't muster out a win, obviously, but he did the best he could. Tyler Shuck, let's see. Now, if he come out there in camp, outperforms Spencer Rattler and wins the position fair and square, you won't hear a peep out of me. At the end of the day, and I was telling a friend of mine that because he was asking me about Tyler Shuck, it could have been last week or the week before last, and he was asking me about him, and I'm like, look, my position on it is this: I don't have any feelings towards Tyler Shuck, yay or nay, because I don't know. I honestly don't know. All I hope, wish, and pray is that it's a fair competition in camp and the best man wins. That's all you can ask for. Don't just hand him over the keys to the castle just because you picked him almost in the first round. He's basically a first round pick that the Saints spent on this quarterback. And that doesn't automatically make you the starter. That shouldn't be the case. It should be who gives you the best chance to win. And if it's Shuck, good. If it's Rattler, good. I need them both to succeed because eventually it will be Shuck. Even if it's not this year, I should say, even if it's not this year, eventually he's going to be the guy. So I need him to pan out. This is the decision the New Orleans Saints made. Now, would it have been the decision Kevin Reed made as the general manager of the Saints? No. They had other quarterbacks in this draft that I would have picked 2 times over before I even got to Tyler Shuck's name. And once again, that's only because I never saw the man play. But that's my position on that. But with all that being said, that's not the go-to in camp that I'm looking for. That's not the thing that I'm paying the most attention to, believe it or not. The thing that I'm paying most attention to going into this season, going into training camp, is the defense. The Saints have a new defensive coordinator in Brandon Staley, who was the former head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, and he is known for being a great defensive coordinator. Well, maybe great's too big, but he's a really good defensive coordinator. His defenses have ranked pretty high. I want to say top 5 throughout his career. He knows his job. I want to see this new defense. I believe that the Saints will be switching to a 3-4 defense under Brandon Staley. So will this benefit players like Demario Davis, like a Cam Jordan, like Isaac Forsky, who can't get on the field? Will it benefit Brian Brzee? Will it benefit these players who are great in their own right under Dennis Allen, who got the best that he could out of everybody? The defense wasn't really the problem, but sometimes it felt like the defense was a little wonky. And now with this new style, this new defense, what can we expect? Now, to be fair, Brandon Staley has had some Pro Bowl players on his defense. Khalil Mack, and he had Aaron Donald when he was the defensive coordinator and for the Rams for a while. Yeah, he's had some top-notch players to make his defense look just that much better. Saints don't have players like that. They have great players, but they don't have nobody in that regard. But we'll see. We'll see. Who knows what can happen here in this new season. But now, let's recap what has taken place since the New Orleans Saints hired Mr. Kellen Moore as the Saints head coach, the new head coach of this team. We've had a lot to take place. We've had a draft. The Saints drafted Calvin Banks Jr. He's an offensive tackle from Texas. Tyler Shuck, who we talked about earlier. Vernon Broughton, defensive tackle. Jonas Sinker, who's a safety. Danny Struckman, who's a linebacker. And I remember seeing him at Oklahoma. He's good. He's good. That was a good pickup by the Saints. Quincy Riley, a cornerback, also in Louisville. Him and Tyler Shuck were teammates. Devin Neal, a running back from Kansas. Now, he is nice. A good compliment to have with Alvin Kamara, especially with so many question marks surrounding Kendrick Miller, who is a really good running back, but has shown that he is injury prone, and we don't know how that's going to turn out. Saints got a good tight end from UCLA. I can't pronounce his name. He's a Samoan. I can't pronounce his name. We just gonna call him Eminem. He's a really good big tight end and runs routes like a wide receiver. He's one of those tight ends and big and nasty because, like I said, he's a Samoan. And so I like that pickup. And their last pick was an edge rusher, Fadil Diggs from Syracuse. Saw some highlights of him. Once again, it's highlights, but he does fit the bill. It looks like he might be a force to be reckoned with. Along with the draft pick, Saints had some additions in free agency. They brought in Cam Akers, running back, who in his prime, Cam Akers was one of the better running backs in the league, but he's a little older now. Plus, he gets banged up a lot as well. I think he's there for to be a camp body, more or less, because he's familiar with Kellen Moore's system as well. And it's good to have a veteran presence in any position here. Also, speaking of veteran presence and bringing somebody back, man, Brandon Cooks returns to the New Orleans Saints. Our wide receiver that we had, I don't know what it's been, about 10 years, maybe longer than that, since he's been here when the Saints drafted him. Another person who I think is here for camp body purposes, and he is familiar with Kellen Moore's system, having played with him in Dallas for all those years. Devon Gautreaux, defensive lineman we got via a trade, I believe, from the New England Patriots. Gautreaux is a good defensive lineman. I think he's a tackle, really good defensive tackle. That was a A+ pickup, I believe. Another return, Isaac Yeldum. He is back as the cornerback, and Justin Reed, no relation, Safety, former LSU Tiger, he has joined the New Orleans Saints. As far as the departures, of course, we all know the big one. Derek Carr retired from the New Orleans Saints. He, um, let me say this. Let me say this about Derek Carr, and let me put this baby to bed about Mr. Carr. Mr. Carr was the worst free agent pickup by the New Orleans Saints, and I know you probably think no, Brandon Browner was. Nah, nah. Oh, what about Jarius Byrd? Nope, nope, nope. We got to admit Derek Carr was the worst free agent signing in Saints history. This dude was pathetic he is pathetic as a human being and a quarterback. I have never seen such a sense of entitlement from an individual who has accomplished nothing on the field. He has I would have accepted it more. I would have accepted his attitude, his demeanor, the way he tucked his tail and ran off, had he been some sort of champion, had he been some sort of a MVP quality quarterback. He was nothing. The dude was sorry. He got into it with everybody. Nobody on the team liked him. He didn't embrace the team. He didn't embrace the franchise and the fan base. He was just horrible. And I'm going hard in the paint, and it's not because of Derek Carr. It's because of comments I got when I did a show surrounded around Derek Carr, and uh, people literally came at me. I guess because I was using race, and I never used race, and I still ain't. I don't care if he was black, white, Asian, Puerto Rican. It didn't matter. The dude is an idiot. And for all of those people that sat there and said that I didn't like Carr because he was white, or if Derek Carr was black, I wouldn't be saying the things that I say. That is a lie. That is no further from the truth than you can get. I don't care about your race. That has nothing to do with how you played the game. For example, Drew Brees, greatest quarterback the Saints ever had, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever touch the field. He got on my nerves, especially when it came time before the kneeling of the flag thing, when he made that stupid comment during the pandemic. And I made it known. Couldn't stand the comment, didn't like his stance, but whatever. But one thing Drew Brees did, he didn't shy away from it. He apologized when he felt he had kind of crossed the line, but he still stuck to his stance, which he has every right to do. I didn't have a problem with that. I just had a problem with what he had said about it. With all that being said, still love Drew Brees, even though he made an idiot statement. It had nothing to do with race. It had absolutely nothing to do with race. And I talked about Jameis Winston when he did bonehead stuff. I talked about the bonehead stuff that he did. It had nothing to do with race. But, you have a certain contingent of people who love to twist things and make things bigger than what they are and whatnot. You idiots. At the end of the day, if my content does not gel with you, by all means, feel free, go find another one. Go find another one to listen to, because I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to speak my truth. And now I've spoken what I conceived as my truth on this show, and I've been proven wrong. And I've come back and said I was wrong about certain things. I have no problems with that. But as far as the slander and all that, and accusing me of being racist, that's just dumb. That's just ridiculous. I don't like that. But that's how I feel about the Carr situation. I just don't like him as a person. I don't. And how he played on the field pretty much matched how I felt about him personally. And so it is what it is. But he's gone now. And that's it for you. I plan to talk about Derek Carr no further. That it is over. That chapter is closed. That book is closed. Thank you, Jesus. But he's gone. Jamal Williams is gone. Another bad free agent signing. A man who led the lead in touchdowns when the Saints signed him, only to get here and couldn't get in the end zone for some strange reason. He's a funny dude, good dude, personally, but on the field, it just didn't quite get there. Another departure which upset me. This part really made me mad. And that was Marquez Valdez Scantling. And I was so hurt when he moved on because he signed with, I think he went to Seattle. And they signed him for nothing. And I'm like, man, he could have stayed here. And he wanted to stay here. He came to the team when we were just completely depleted in our receiving core. And he came and showed out. And I was hoping that the Saints would hold on to him, but for reasons, he is gone. Offensive guard, Lucas Patrick. Offensive tackle, Ryan Ramczyk, who retired. He hasn't played in 2 years. Yeah, and it boggles my mind that he was still on the roster because I vaguely remember or vividly remember him basically saying he was done a couple of years ago because of his knees. He couldn't do it anymore. But for some strange reason, he was still on the team, on books wise. But officially, he has retired. God bless him. He was our best offensive lineman. That's going to be a major blow, but we'll bounce back hopefully. Willie Gay Jr., who also came in a time when we was hurting, produced pretty well, but he has moved on. Paulson Adebo. Now, this was the biggest shock of free agent departures for me. Paulson Adebo was good, really, really good. Now, he wasn't Marcus Lattimore, but he was good. Yeah, he'll give you a PI. He'll average a 1 PI a game. He'll give you that, but he will also break up a lot of deep passes. He was a really good compliment for Lattimore when he was here. I guess when Lattimore left or got traded, it was no point of keeping him either, but he got hurt last year. That pretty much sealed his fate with the Saints just last year, drafting Kool-Aid McKendry, and you have Alante Taylor, and Saints brought in a couple of other cornerbacks as well. So he was the odd man out, which is weird, but I wish him all the luck in the world. And Will Harris, safety, he also departed from the team. So this training camp, it will be a mission to find the replacement for these players who have exited the New Orleans Saints. Our preseason schedule this season, it begins August the 10th. That's our first preseason game. It's just around the corner, people. We're in the last week of July, aren't we? No, we got 2 more weeks in July left. But it is right around the corner. The Saints, first week, will play the Los Angeles Chargers on August the 17th. The Saints will play the Jacksonville Jaguars. And to end our preseason, the Saints will play the Denver Broncos. Yes, Sean Payton will be returning again for that Saturday game on August the 23rd. On the Saints schedule, it was noted, I'm not going to go through the schedule, but it was noted that the Saints are one of 3 teams in the entire NFL, that includes the Browns and the Tennessee Titans, who don't have a primetime game at all this season. They do, there are no Thursday nights, no Monday nights, no Sunday night games for the New Orleans Saints. All their games will take place Sunday afternoon. There's nothing special about the Saints. And I can't really get mad at the NFL for that because the Saints haven't given us nothing special to look for, as far as a national audience would want to see. The last few times we've had primetime games, we got blown out. We got kicked all over the field. And so who wants to see that? Honestly, and as Saints fans, we don't want to see that. So the NFL responded in kind and said, nah, you're good on Sunday afternoons. And so what do we need to know going into this preseason, going into this training camp? Kellen Moore. This is the big one for him. He's undertaking a big task as he prepares to change the New Orleans Saints and give this team a long overdue overhaul coming off of his Super Bowl victory as the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. He will be bringing in this new philosophy, this new offense that the New Orleans Saints have been yearning for ever since Sean Payton left, to be quite honest with you. And he is the youngest head coach in the NFL, believe it or not. He's 36 years old, and he will be taking over this tall task as the coach of this team. His major project is, like I said before, is the quarterback position. Who will lead this team? Will it be Spencer Rattler? Will it be Tyler Shuck? Will it even be Jake Hader? Is he the dark horse here that will come in this season and kind of creep up from behind and take it? Anything's possible at this point. You also have an undrafted rookie who they signed, Hunter Deacons, or Deckers. I'm sorry. I knew nothing about him either. Still don't. I think he's here just to be here, but God bless him. But the real test will be between Rattler and Shuck. Let's not fool ourselves, people. Rattler, he's entering with the most experience of all of these quarterbacks. He started 6 games during his rookie season last year. He did struggle, like I mentioned before, which led to Jake Hader getting a start after him, and Hader looked worse. And so they went back to Spencer Rattler. Perhaps that's why they drafted Tyler Shuck. That's why they went, because it was a lot of uncertainty. And I get the Saints needed to draft a quarterback. Maybe I should have led with that earlier, too. It wasn't like the Saints didn't need to get a quarterback. The Saints needed to draft a quarterback. I just am not 100% sold that this was the quarterback they should have picked. But, hey, hopefully he will prove me wrong. That's my hope and prayer. Tyler Shuck, he's 25 years old. He's basically an old timer. He's an AARP member in NFL standards as a quarterback. He had 7 seasons in college, 7, and now 3 of them were abruptly ended by injuries. We know it's well documented, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But he is the highest pick quarterback the Saints have picked since Archie Manning. And that was back in 1971. I wasn't even thought of in 1971. And that's how long it's been. It's since the Saints drafted a quarterback this high. And so it's almost a foregone conclusion that he's going to be the starter, but we'll see. I just want a fair battle in camp. Going back to what I was saying earlier about the defense, there could be some upside here. Several familiar veterans remained at every level. Cam Jordan, DeMario Davis, and the Honey Badger, they're still there. But the defense will need to adjust to new defensive coordinator Brandon Staley's 3-4 scheme after a decade under Dennis Allen. Let's not forget, the Saints still have Chase Young. Is Chase Young finally going to wake up and start playing like Chase Young, like the first-round pick that he was? Are we going to see that under this defense? Carl Granderson, who after he signed his contract, he disappeared. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. Brian Brucey, who is probably one of the better picks the Saints made in the last 2 or 3 years, who, in my opinion, has been the most consistent thing on that defensive line since he been drafted to the team. You have Colin Sanders, who he also returns to the team, and like I mentioned before, Devon Gautreaux. How will he fit into this? You have Pete Warner here still with the team. It's a lot there. The Saints aren't lacking up front, in the front seven there. And now going back in that secondary, yeah, I mentioned Marcus Lattimore traded, Paulson Adebo left in free agency. Will Harris gone in free agency, but the Saints still have Kool-Aid McKendry. They still have Alante Taylor. You brought in Justin Reed. You drafted a couple of players in the draft. We'll see how this all pans out with the New Orleans Saints defense. I'm excited about the defense. That's the one I'm looking for. I want to see something new, fresh. Because even if you have a team that is struggling, especially offensively, when you're bringing in a new scheme, a new system, new quarterback, young quarterback, the best way to help that offense is to have a solid defense. And for years, let's not forget, for years, the Saints were relevant because of their defense. It wasn't because of their offense. Going all the way back to the Jim Mora era, the offense was hot garbage, but you had a Hall of Fame defense, and I'm not exaggerating. You had Hall of Famers on that defense, man. That Dome Patrol defense is one of the best defenses in all of NFL history. You can put it up there with the Purple People Eaters and the Iron Curtain and all this here. This defense with Pat Swilling and Sam Mills and Ricky Jackson and Von Johnson, they were beasts. And so they held that team together. Did we win divisions? No. Did we win playoffs? No. But they were relevant defensively. You knew you can go in and beat the Saints, but you knew you was going to get beat up doing it. And that's what made the Saints special back then. Until this offense starts to click under Kellen Moore, you need a defense that's going to beat up teams. Yeah, we may be dead last according to some NFL analysts, that we were going to finish dead last in the entire NFL, the worst team in the NFL. Whatever. That's fine. I care less. But even if we go 0-17, just know that when you come into the Dome, you're going to have to earn it. You may beat them, but you're going to have to earn it. You're going to leave with some scrapes and bruises and scars. And that's what I want to see. Hopefully that this defense will thrive under Brandon Staley. So we shall see. This was a short show. I just wanted to get back into the mode, get back into a kind of a habit, since we have opened the door back to the NFL season as Saints start camp in a couple of days on July the 23rd on Airline Drive at Saints facility. Training camp for 2025. Man, I can't wait for football. It has been depressing, man. I didn't watch any basketball this season. I didn't watch not one dribble. It just, I am so done with the NBA. It's not even funny. It's boring. And I watched none of it. Not one game this season. Not even the Pelicans. I didn't watch anything because it was boring me. And so, with that being said, I've been praying for football season to come back around, and God has heard my prayers, because here we are. The New Orleans Saints kick off training camp this week. I would love to know, what are you excited for this season? What are your expectations this season? Are they super low, like they should be, or are you just a tad bit delusional and look at the Saints as being a contender? I can't see that. And now, if it happens, good. But I'd rather feel this way leading into them shocking the world and getting into the playoffs and stuff like that. I would enjoy it more. If I sit there and have this expectation that the Saints are going to be world beaters and they end up pulling the bed like they did last season, I would be mad. And I'm trying to protect my peace here, people. So I would love to know your thoughts going into this season for the New Orleans Saints. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Don't forget about us on YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel where you can find all kinds of content over there. Like this video and share it if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the brand new the Who Dat Say podcast. I want you all to enjoy these last few days of peace until the Who Dat Nation rises up and take over for the next, 5 to 6 months. It is going to be crazy, and I'm here for every minute of it. Oh, it's so good to be back, and it feels even better for you joining me as we jump right back into the season. Be on the lookout throughout the season, throughout training camp, as we drop episodes of the Who Dat Say podcast as we discuss New Orleans Saints. It feels good to be back, and it feels good to scream to the top of my lungs, Who Dat?